This is Dr. Von Mad. Welcome back. And today we're going to be building this howitzer Jeep. Now I'm going to make a slight improvement to the design, but you'll see that here in a minute. What you're going to need is some bit of cardboard. In this case, I'm going to use this pizza box. A couple of these big popsicle sticks here. You might need more than two, but I've got two. I think I can get more if I need it. A handful of the standard ones. The big milkshake drinking straws, barbecue skewer or bamboo skewer, 5 bottle caps of a milk jug type size or Gatorade, just a large one, something about like that. You don't want too small. Paint brushes, glue gun, drill, scissors, and a knife. Now I'm going to get my blade out here and we're going to start cutting the frame out on this thing. So be back with you in a second. I'm going to clear out some of this so I can get this, so I can start cutting the chassis off this thing. Be back in a second. As you can see, we've got this is going to be the base for the chassis, and as these are fairly large, you could probably mass produce these little vehicles. So what we're going to do is we're going to start cutting right around here. Going to cut right in here. Going to cut right there. And right along this perforation right here. Now, granted, I don't measure as much, so everybody's vehicle is liable to be a little bit different than everybody else's, which is all fine and good. Just as every person is different, everybody's take on this design is probably going to be a tad different. Now, let me get this dude, pull out our blank for the chassis. Now, this is going to be your blank for your chassis. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here. We're going to cut out section like that. Now, just kind of eyeball it. So what you're wanting is to cut it right in here. So I made just a little bit of a scoring, cut it down, and we know that it needs to be cut at a certain width. And there you are. Now, we're going to do the same thing on the back of it, because that's going to be your front chassis. That's where your front wheels are going to go. We're going to come back here. We're going to cut here, line it up. Cut it here. Make sure that's cut deep enough in. You don't want it too much, but you don't need it out too far. You're going to want to cut here. And you come across and do the same thing over here. Now, what you're going to do now is fold this up, and take a pair of scissors to it. Now, you know the Jeep was originally designed by a company called Willys Overland. There's your basic chassis for your Jeep. Now, save all these scrap pieces. These right here are going to be your seats later on, and we'll use some more of this pizza box over here to make some, make your chassis and stuff. Now, right now what I'm going to do is plug in this glue gun while I'm getting the wheels and everything drilled out. Now, I told you I was going to do something a little bit different, and here's what I'm going to do different here. On the original, I just kind of glued it into place. I'm going to cut a slot out of the middle of this, because this is not going to be a moving howitzer. You could probably do that, but it's just not something I want to do. So what we're going to do is poke that out. I'm going to try to. If you bend it a little bit, we're going to be putting a central shaft down the middle anyway to kind of keep it from getting bent. That's part of the whole thing's ruggedness of this. As I was saying before the batteries went out, we're going to put the chassis to one side and we're going to be drilling out the wheels on this thing while we are waiting. Now I am missing a wheel somewhere. Oh, there it is. It got pushed underneath the other Jeep over here. And you are going to need a couple of craft beads. That's going to be for your headlights. But if you've watched my videos by now, you know to keep craft beads handy anyway, because I got a number of uses. Now be careful doing this. If you'll notice, there's a little divot right there. That's where the plastic injection injects into the mold. That's where you want this thing drilled so it won't roll like a jalopy. Let it come to a stop. And there you are. Now we're going to do this again. Oh, that one went pretty quickly. Okay. Another one. We're going to drill another one. Now, if you was going to do it the way I was going to do it, you could put a fifth one. But I think the way I'm going to do this one, you ain't going to really need this. So, that's make that 4 wheels, not 5. Alright. There's your wheels. If you've got a little bit of excess on here, use a knife or something to cut it off with. That's what we're going to do right now. It's kind of just... So you want that to be a good solid hole. Now, the next thing you're going to do is we're going to flip this over. You've got one of these right here. We're going to cut this one in half. And that's going to glue in here and here. Now, there's a purpose for that, and you will see it momentarily. Now, I've got another glue stick over here on the outside chance that I'll need it, and I probably will. You're going to take this other stick here. You're going to cut it down a piece. And it's going to fit in right here, so cut it off till you get to the length that you want it. You're kind of wanting like a letter H through the middle of this thing. Alright. Now then, your next step is to cut down your axle assembly. I'm going to make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And that's going to fit right here. You're going to want another one of a similar size. And that's going to fit in underneath. That's going to be where your axles go. Because we're going to be putting your wheels on here as soon as we get the chassis of this thing built. So what we're going to do now is we're going to push this on through. I have a feeling I'm going to be changing out my glue gun eventually. I think I may be burning out my element. But if we do, I got another one. I got a spare. Now, see, now there's your chassis. Now, here's where we're going to go back here to your pizza box. Because we're going to start now on the back of this thing. And for this, I'm going to use this purple one right here. And we're going to build the back bed for this Jeep. And what you want to do is cut this end piece off. Save that, you might need it. Kind of eyeball it off. Remember, you can cut off some, but you can't put it back, so be careful. Yep, and that's what we need right there. Now, we've got some cardboard. I'm going to have to cut another piece off of this here pizza box. So, let me get this over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut this section right here off. Save that. And I need this section right here. Cut this end here off. That's just the part of the flap that locks down on your pizza box. That's going to go right here in the middle. It's going to be for the driver. And you're going to set that into place here. Now, you're going to glue this stick, this piece of popsicle stick here, right in here. Now, you're going to come by and you're going to grab another one of these. Going to cut him down, and he's going to glue in right here. Now remember, you can take it off, but you can't add to it, so be careful. I'm going to cut a piece off of this other side here and try to match it up evenly, like so. And don't worry about it being too patchwork looking right now. Really wish the stringers would quit dropping my components in the floor. Piece of stringer from the glue gun yanked my thread into the floor. Now, another thing I mentioned for the gun, we'll probably do that too. You'll need a clothespin for the gun, as you probably remembered. But that's if you actually intend on adding a gun to it. Now, you could just leave it as a regular, as a troop transport, and you'll be just leave it off there. If you wanted, you could even put like flags on it and make it like a general's staff car. Now, you got another section of this. We're going to come up on the back of this thing, cut it down, and it's going to glue right across the back. Make sure you cut it down to size. Okay, you want to cut down a little more. Remember, you can take it off, but you can't add it. So, just kind of shear it down by increments. Or if you're particularly fussy, you could always measure it. See how my glue gun's all sticking. I suspect my glue gun's about to go out on me, so if it does, I've got another glue gun here. I'll have to find it. It may take me a minute. Alright, now, as you can see, we have this done. Now, your next step, remember we told you to save these two pieces that you cut out from the fender wells? What you're going to do with them, you're going to fold them up like so. And I've got another one over here that we're going to save as another piece here. And that's going to be part of your assembly for your fenders. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to glue these seats into place. As like so. Let's cut it down just a little bit less. Okay, there we go. Now, if it's a little bit higher, come in and just kind of shear it down. Like that. I know the seats will look a little bit wonky. It'll be alright. Now, got to cut this section here off. Now, you will notice when you're looking at this is I've got the entire front engine piece of this thing's made out of cardboard as well, so we're going to return back to our pizza box. Here, we're going to cut a section off of this, and that's going to be the sides of your engine case of the front part of the vehicle. So, what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down. And we're going to cut it in half. And if you're worried about it being the wrong size, measure it off. Like I'm about to do, just kind of do that. Make sure that it's kind of roughly the same length. Needs to be cut down on the ends. There we go. So, now. Yeah, I told you, I was telling you the glue gun I think is going to be needing to be replaced at some point. Yeah, I know this because the last time I started doing this, one day I was working on a project and the glue gun up and decided that it weren't going to play no more and tried to blow up. Now, where did I do with the other piece of this? Hang on. I may have goofed it just a little bit. There we go. Now, we're going to glue this one. This one here is probably not going to look so much like a Jeep as it does a German Kugelwagen, but it'll be alright. It'll work out. Trust me. Now, we're going to come up here. I got it a little bit too long on that side. There we go. Now, even that up. We're going to cut this down just a hair. Now we're going to put our engine block into place. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your glue gun. Push this in. And glue it in like so. Now, like I said, it looks more like a German Kugelwagen or something right now. But that's okay. Now, get all these spiders off of it here. And kind of seal that up. And you've got a little bit of extra overhang on this side, so what you're going to do is you come up here and you cut it down. Now, a little more streamlined on the front, but that's okay. There's a dozen different Scout vehicles from a dozen different countries, so you're still in good shape. Now remember that piece we cut out here in the back? That's going to be for this, and we're going to glue that into place now. And we will get to building the gun on this thing. So you'll notice it pokes through. So what you're going to do is I'm going to have to shear some of this down because it's not exactly where I want it. But you're going to have to cut it because I don't want to cut it. You got to cut a bit of a notch out of it like so. And that's going to fit in right there. Now you can glue that in underneath your chassis. And that's going to be your basis for your gun. Now you come up here, you're going to do the same thing around this thing that you did on the other without the round thing. Now, let's go ahead and assemble the wheels on this dude. Actually, we're going to put the headlights on him first because this thing's... Well, let's go ahead and put the front grille on him. I just realized we forgot the grille. That's alright, we can fix that. We're going to cut this down into the right length. And we're going to come up here on the front of this dude. And we're going to secure... That was hot. The front grille. Now, you got a little bit of an overhang, that's okay. I said you can kind of style it yourself once you get it going. This one here is going to look more like an old German, like I said, more like the Kubelwagen. Now, we're going to come back to that thing in a minute. Now, your next thing is to cut your axles. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut the axles down, like so. Trying to hopefully get this into focus for you. And if you don't like this, if it's got a bit of a rough edge and you don't like it, use a little sandpaper. There you go. Now, your front wheels. I'll come up here. Glue your wheel into place. And let that set a second. And we're going to do the same thing on the back wheel. Another section of popsicle stir from the barbecue skewer. I think I should have cut that one a little longer. Now, I like these back ones, are a tighter fit, so now we're going to carry this over here to the back of the car, drop this in, come up here, slide this axle into place onto the front of the car, or onto the side axle over here. Ow! Forgot there was hot glue in there. You gotta be careful, guys. Alright, I'm gonna have to push this down in there. There we go. Now, see if we can push this through to kind of even this wheelbase up. Now, there you are. Now you could put some fenders on here. I'm going to in a minute. Let's see how this wheel's looking. Oh yeah. Now, let's assemble the other wheel. And for that, you will go over here, as I'm doing now. Now this front wheel's probably a little bit offset, but I think it'll be okay. Make sure you got a little bit of wheel clearance. Oh yeah. You got a very functional little scout car right now as it is. Now you got this other piece that I've cut off here, and we're going to put some fenders on him. So I'm going to cut down some strips here. This is going to be the front fender. You got to remember, every country on earth has had some variant of the Jeep. The Germans had the Kubelwagen, and I believe the Italians had several different scout cars. They were actually quite famous for them. Pretty sure the British had something similar. No, the Russians and the Soviets did, you know. And I say that separately because they're not the same. They're not the same nation as they were. Now, go ahead and get this lined up here. Now, I have to glue this one right up here along this side here. And a little loose fitting glue looks okay because military stuff's all welded together anyway. So now you got a little freewheeling car going on. Now, if you want, you can put some fenders on it, as I'm about to if my glue gun will hold up. Gonna come back to this. Gonna cut a section out of the cardboard here. Let me move this up so you can see me. We're gonna flip this down. Just don't cut your fingers off. Move our pizza box back out of the way. We're gonna cut this one in half. And we'll come over here. And we're gonna glue that into place here and here. They use a little more glue than that. So, let me turn this thing around, see where I got this elevation on this thing. Now, if you have to hold it a second, then hold it a second. It will glue into place. That's what I'm going to do right now. Because gravity's going to play, you know what on it. But there you are. I mean, right now, this is a very functional little staff car. It's freewheeling. You can cut these hubs down if you wish. I'm going to see if I can even these hubs just a hair on this front wheel. So I don't want it sticking out too far, but I do need it to continue to be able to roll. See, right now it's pushed in too close, so come up here. And you're going to want to push this one through, push this one back. There you are. Now for the gun. Now, what you're going to do here is you're going to take one of these popsicle sticks here. You're going to cut like a little notch like that. You're going to grab another one. You're going to do the same darn thing. Lay the gun barrel down there. You're going to cut. This is going to be the barrel for your howitzer. Cut too much. That's alright. Because it's just going to be up here laying on the gun barrel. So what we're going to do is you're going to come up here. We'll put that right here. Alright, we're back. The thing ran its course. Now, we're going to go right back to gluing this thing back together. You're going to take the other thing and you're going to come over here on this side with it. And you're going to do the same thing over here. And get that as even as you can. Ow! Hot glue. Got to be careful. Oh, you got a slipper. We got a slippy slide. Alright, we're going to come up here. Put a little bit of glue right in here. Just a bare pinch here. Now we're going to move this back up here because, well, alright. Hang on. Now, I'm going to glue this in. Right in here. And then this one's going to have to come up here, so I'm going to have to grab another glue stick. This in here is one of the more advanced builds you will encounter that we do, but honestly the result is striking. And this new howitzer design will simplify what you're doing here. Now, very carefully with a piece of popsicle stick, scrape off the excess glue because you don't want to get that on your fingers. It's hot. Ow. Rough on the knees. This is going to glue up here on top. Now that's going to be your firing mechanism. So here's how that works. And if you want a Jeep, just cut this a little less angled and a little more blocky. Now, you need a clothespin. Where did I put my clothespins? I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, we're back. Now I'm going to glue the firing mechanism onto this thing. And we'll probably have to put some supports on it. But I think that's actually going to be a lot more sturdy. Now you could put some supports on it. You'll notice the original, I attempted to try to put a turret on it. And I had a dowel rod. I was going to make it where it could turn. But if you're not worried about it turning, that's not a big deal. Because I had to put a lot of wood on this one. This is the design I just gave you is a lot simpler, as you can see. And just as sturdy. Just as rugged. Now there's one more thing you can do. And we're going to do that right now, and that's to put a front bumper on this thing. So we're going to take the last of the big stick that you had, or a small one, or a medium, or whatever. Even a piece of cardboard would do nicely. And you're going to come under, excuse me, underneath here. Glue this onto the front of it. Oh, the headlights. We almost forgot the headlights. Headlights here and here. And those are going to just drop on like so. See? Now, that headlight's a little bit wonky. It's a little too big. I've got another one over here that's a matching size. I did not realize that my beads did not match. But that's alright. We can fix that. That's a minor issue. Alright, here we are. That's more like it. So let's go ahead and glue that headlight on, since we're in the neighborhood. See? Headlights. Now, let's go ahead and put a front bumper on this thing. You're going to take another popsicle stick. You're going to cut it down right about so, about like that, and then you're going to come up here, flip over your vehicle. Now, I would say to let your glue dry before you go testing the gun itself, but honestly, that is a very functional little scout car. Now, like I said, if you're going to build it as a Jeep, build it more blocky and less angular. And you can also build it, the Jeep's actually a little longer too, as you can see. But it's basically the same concept. So, and once you master this, pickup trucks, sports cars, whatever you want to build is now within your grasp. So, with a simple bill of fare, with everything from recycled pizza boxes to clothespins to recycled bottle caps, bamboo skewers, and old drinking straws, you too can build an army. This is Dr. Von Mad saying, Recycling Army wants you. See you on the flip side, and bye-bye. An addendum. Something I about forgot when I got it almost done. So we're going to go ahead and do a kind of a PS on this thing. I've got the colors here for what I'm going to do for the paint on it. In this case, I'm going with a crimson base coat, I think, because this crimson, it's kind of a runny paint, but I think it might work for this. And then I'm going to go with green and black as a background, so I'm going to go ahead and get that started. It's kind of, because it's going to be a dull red in color, which will make a nice contrast to the green Jeep if anybody's playing war. You're going to have some writing on the front of this. It's okay. You just kind of keep painting over it till you get done, or not. Could be a regimental number or whatever. You know, military numbers, everything. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this. I'll get back with you when when the entire thing's painted crimson and dry. As you can see, it's now pretty well ready. We're going to see how this thing does now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in now with some Wedgwood green. Let's see how this works. It took me a little bit to get this done because the crimson paint was a tad on the watery side and it takes forever to dry. So we're going to see if this does any better. Going in with some really bright green. What we're going to do is I'm just going to speckle it. Maybe get me a smaller brush. We go from that chisel brush to this little pointer. Because I'm not wanting big spots. I just kind of a fleck tarn type thing going on. Just kind of random little green dots all over it. There's some places where the crimson still is not dry, but we'll work with it. Bring it around. Just kind of just dab it. And just kind of dab it, and we'll have to come along to the side here in a minute. Now we're going to close up this green, and we're going to come in with the black because I got something up my sleeve here for the front insignia on this thing. Since it looks like a German Kugelwagen and it's painted with a Red Baron pattern, there's only one thing you can do. And it's not what everybody thinks. Everybody don't get triggered now. And that's going to be there we go. Now, see what I mean? Since it kind of looks like a Red Baron thing and it looks like a German-made car, kind of resembles a Kugelwagen. I'm just gonna paint the old Iron Cross on the front of it. Most people don't know this. When I dress up to go anywhere, I've got a 1960s surfer era Iron Cross necklace that I wear. It's got 1914 written on it. You would not believe how many people don't know the difference between World War I and World War II. So, looks all Christmassy except that there's an Iron Cross on the front of it. So, let's see what you think, guys. That looked pretty sharp. Think I need to do more on it or less. Anyways, this is Dr. Von Mad. I'm going to go get this uploaded. And, well, actually, I'm going to do one more thing before I get this uploaded. I need to grab a rubber band. And where are my bands? Here they are. Need to test the gun on it. So I'm going to grab myself a band of appropriate size. Got it right here. Now let's see if, I don't know why it wouldn't fire, but we're going to check it just to make on the safe side. And it shoots. So there you are. Yes, it's red and green, but I think it's very cool looking. So this is Dr. Von Mad. And yeah, I know that's not going to hide anything, but it's still cool looking. This is Dr. Von Mad, and we'll see you cats on the flip side. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button and all that good stuff. Bye-bye.